Speaking of shocking picks here for fantasy, there's another guy who's listed as a sleeper pick here now for fantasy football, and that's Tyrone Tracy Jr., who I just feel like we should start calling him TTJR. I just feel like that's what it should be. Like, for some reason, it just rings, like, just rolls off the tongue.
TTJR.
TTJR. I don't know what he's got a nickname. I haven't heard a nickname for him yet, but I just feel like TTJR.
Junior.
It just works. We're gonna start doing it. We're gonna start making
TTJR.
that. So it sounds like a cheap American restaurant, like TJIF or something like that. But he got a listing there from Pro Football Network as a sleeper pick. They said Tyrone Tracy Jr.'s explosive athleticism, exceptional creativity as a ball carrier, and pass catching upside had me very intrigued at the end of the fantasy drafts. If Tracy can provide a spark to the Giants offense early in the season in a complementary role, it's not that far-fetched to suggest his role could expand exponentially throughout the season. And I think the big thing is, we've talked about in the show before, the fact that he's a converted wide receiver. You got to think he's going to be able to catch the ball. You talked about the PPR leagues in the last segment. This has got to be a guy that you would pick, like they said, towards the very end of the draft. I wouldn't pick him up early. But if you pick him up towards the end of the draft and he ends up being like a third down, running back, you could see this guy get some points in a PPR league. And then, like they said, towards the end of the season, that you could see him maybe start splitting carries with Devin Singletary if he's looking good as a runner as well on top of that. Because if you just put him in on passing plays, it's pretty obvious what you're doing with him. You're going to have to mix it up a little bit there here and there.
Yeah, I mean, this guy could go undrafted in any fantasy league and still be a sleeper. So that's not saying anything, too crazy there. So this is a guy that who knows what his plays are going to be the first month of the football. Yeah, I mean, granted, we play Vikings week 1, right? It's not like their defense is that good. He may have a good first game, but you're probably looking at Singletary starting in the backfield over there. Then you go play the Commanders, we dominate. Once again, like, who knows? Their defense is a lot better than the Commanders. Play the Browns, which is a really good defense, and then who knows what you got in Dallas. And then you go play the Seahawks. Then you finally go play the Bengals in week 5. So you could probably look at week 5, buys start coming in. Who do you pick up? Pick up Turbo. TTJR.
No, not Turbo. Turbo Miller.
Yeah, no, sorry.
I went with the wrong
Turbo. So, yeah, it's always
TTJR.
TTJR.
But yeah, again, I think he's that kind of guy. You pick him up towards the very end potentially. Again, if you're in a deep league, like if you got a bunch of teams, you might have to pick up some guys that you're hoping could give you something, and he's in that category. If you're in a league where it's only a few teams, you might be looking at him as a waiver wire guy each week to see what happens. So
if you're in a 10-man league, this is a waiver wire guy. 100%.
Definitely a guy that could provide something this season on a team that, let's be honest here, doesn't have a lot of options at running back. You look at Devin Singletary, who's a stud, obviously. He's kind of that B-tier running back in this league. Then you got Eric Gray, who we all know my thoughts on him. I hate him. I shouldn't say it. I hate him. I hate his playing style. I don't like him as a player. I don't like, I'm glad we didn't re-sign Matt Breida. I think he was kind of shown to be the end of his career last year, the way he played. So you go to Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Turbo Miller as your guys at that point. It could be their backups, And I don't think either one of them is the guy that you would sit there and say he's definitely the guy. And if Tracy takes that role on, like I said, in the PPR league especially, he could definitely be putting up some points.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.